Hey guys. Okay. Okay guys, so I am doing a video. Alright, so okay, I'm here. I'm doing a video. It's called 99 Bottles of Beer on the Wall. And my goal is to get to 0. So this might take me a while. So here I go. I'm nervous. 99 bottles of beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 98 bottles of beer on the wall, 98 bottles of beer on the wall, 98 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 97 bottles of beer on the wall, 97 bottles of beer on the wall, 97 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 96 bottles of beer on the wall, 96 bottles of beer on the wall, 96 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 95 bottles of beer on the wall, 95 bottles of beer on the wall, 95 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 94 bottles of beer on the wall, 94 bottles of beer on the wall, 94 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 93 bottles of beer on the wall, 93 bottles of beer on the wall, 93 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 92 bottles of beer on the wall, 92 bottles of beer on the wall, 92 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 91 bottles of beer on the wall. 91 bottles of beer on the wall, 91 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 90 bottles of beer on the wall, 90 bottles of beer on the wall, 90 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 89 bottles of beer on the wall. 80 bottles of beer. Wait, no, 89. 89 bottles of beer on the wall, 89 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 88 bottles of beer on the wall, 88 bottles of beer on the wall, 88 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 87 bottles of beer on the wall, 87 bottles of beer on the wall, 87 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 96 bottles of beer on the wall, 96 bottles of beer on the wall, 96 bottles of beer. Take one. Did I just say 96? 86! Jesus. 86 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 85 bottles of beer on the wall, 85 bottles of beer on the wall, 85 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 84 bottles of beer on the wall, 84 bottles of beer on the wall, 84 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 83 bottles of beer on the wall, 83 bottles of beer on the wall, 83 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 82 bottles of beer on the wall, 82 bottles of beer on the wall, 82 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 82 bottles of beer on the wall, 82 bottles of beer on the wall, 82 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 81 bottles of beer on the wall, 81 bottles of beer on the wall, 81 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 80 bottles of beer on the wall, 80 bottles of beer on the wall, 80 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 79 bottles of beer on the wall, 79 bottles of beer on the wall, 79 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 78 bottles of beer on the wall, 78 bottles of beer on the wall, 78 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 86 bottles of beer on the wall. Wait, no. We were at 79. So we do 78, right? We'll just start at 78. I messed up. 78 bottles of beer on the wall. 78 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 77 bottles of beer on the wall. 77 bottles of beer on the wall. 77 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 76 bottles of beer on the wall. 76 bottles of beer on the wall. 76 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. Oh my god, no. Not right now. I'm doing something. Someone's calling me. Okay, we were at 76. Okay. We'll just start at 75 because I think we finished that. 75 bottles of beer on the wall. Wait, do we need to do 72? I don't know. I'll just start there. 75 bottles of beer on the wall. 75 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 74 bottles of beer on the wall. 74 bottles of beer on the wall. 74 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 73 bottles of beer on the wall. 73 bottles of beer on the wall. 73 bottles of beer. take one down, pass it around. 72 bottles of beer in the wall, 72 bottles of beer in the wall, 72 bottles of beer. There we go. bottles of beer in the wall, 71 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 70 bottles of beer on the wall, 70 bottles of beer on the wall, 70 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 69 bottles of beer on the wall, 69 bottles of beer on the wall, 69 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 68 bottles of beer on the wall, 68 bottles of beer on the wall, 68 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 67 bottles of beer on the wall, 67 bottles of beer on the wall, 67 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 85 bottles of beer on the wall, 65 bottles of beer on the wall. 65 bottles of beer on the wall, 65 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 64 bottles of beer on the wall. 4. Oh my god. 64 bottles of beer on the wall, 64 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 63 bottles of beer on the wall, 63 bottles of beer on the wall, 63 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 62 bottles of beer on the wall, 62 bottles of beer on the wall, 62 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 61 bottles of beer on the wall, 61 bottles of beer on the wall, 61 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 60 bottles of beer on the wall. Oh my god. 60 bottles of beer on the wall, 60 bottles of beer. Oh my god. 60 bottles of beer on the wall, 60 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 59 bottles of beer on the wall, right? Yeah, 59 bottles of beer on the wall, 59 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 58 bottles of beer on the wall, 58 bottles of beer on the wall, 58 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 57 bottles of beer on the wall, 57 bottles of beer on the wall, 57 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 56 bottles of beer on the wall, right? 56 bottles of beer on the wall, 56 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 55 bottles of beer on the wall, 55 bottles of beer on the wall, 55 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 55 bottles of beer on the wall, 55 bottles of beer on the wall, 55 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 54 bottles of beer on the wall, 54 bottles of beer on the wall, 54 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 53 bottles of beer on the wall, 53 bottles of beer on the wall, 50 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 52 bottles of beer on the wall, 52 bottles of beer on the wall, 52 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 51 bottles of beer on the wall, 51 bottles of beer on the wall, 51 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 50 bottles of beer on the wall, 50 bottles of beer on the wall, 50 bottles of beer. Take it down, pass it around. 49 bottles of beer on the wall. Alright guys, we're at 49. Only 40 more to go. Almost 50 more to go, oh my god. Okay, we're halfway there. 49 bottles of beer on the wall, 49 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. There we go again. Stop calling me. Okay. Someone's calling me again. They need to stop calling me or I'm gonna block their number. Okay, yeah. 58, wait, no, 48. Sorry, I get all mixed up. This is a long process. Okay, we're back. Reconnecting and the ads come up every time my sister calls the phone, so stop calling the phone! 48 bottles of beer on the wall, 48 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 47 bottles of beer on the wall, 47 bottles of beer on the wall, 47 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 45 bottles of beer on the wall, bottles of beer on the wall, 45 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 44 bottles of beer on the wall, 44 bottles of beer on the wall, 44 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 43 bottles of beer on the wall, 43 bottles of beer on the wall, 43 bottles of beer. Take it down, pass it around. 42 bottles of beer on the wall, 42 bottles of beer on the wall, 42 bottles of beer. Take it down, pass it around. 41 bottles of beer on the wall, 41 bottles of beer on the wall, 41 bottles of beer. Take it down, pass it around. 40 bottles of beer on the wall, 40 bottles of beer on the wall, 40 bottles of beer. Take it down, pass it around. 40 bottles of beer on the wall. 40 bottles of beer on the wall, 40 bottles of beer. Take it down, pass it around. 39 bottles of beer on the wall, 39 bottles of beer on the wall, 39 bottles of beer. Take it down, pass it around. 38. I messed it up. I messed up. 38. Do this. Okay, I needed to breathe. Okay, 38 bottles of beer on the wall, 38 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 37 bottles of beer on the wall, 37 bottles of beer on the wall, 37 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 36 bottles of beer on the wall, 36 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 35 bottles of beer on the wall, 35 bottles of beer on the wall, 35 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 34 bottles of beer on the wall, 34 bottles of beer on the wall, 34 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 33 bottles of beer on the wall, 33 bottles of beer on the wall, 33 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 32 bottles of beer on the wall, 32 bottles of beer on the wall, 32 bottles of beer. Take down, pass it around. 31 bottles of beer on the wall, 31 bottles of beer on the wall, 31 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 30 bottles of beer on the wall, 30 bottles of beer on the wall, 30 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 29 bottles of beer on the wall. 29 bottles of beer on the wall, 29 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 28 bottles of beer on the wall, 28 bottles of beer on the wall, 28 bottles of beer. Take it down, pass it around. What was it? 27 bottles of beer on the wall. Guys, this is really hard. Okay, this is really hard. 25. I'm just gonna start at 25. 25 bottles of beer on the wall, 25 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 24 bottles of beer on the wall, 24 bottles of beer on the wall, 24 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 23 bottles of beer. 24 bottles of beer on the wall, 24 bottles of beer on the wall, 24 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 23 bottles of beer on the wall. This is so hard. 23 bottles of beer on the wall, 23 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 22 bottles of beer on the wall, 22 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 21 bottles of beer on the wall, 21 bottles of beer on the wall, 21 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 20 bottles of beer on the wall, 20 bottles of beer on the wall, 20 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 19 bottles of beer on the wall, 19 bottles of beer on the wall. Oh my god, what?
Hey, Nakai wants you.
Not right now, doing something. 19 bottles of beer on the wall, 19 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 18 bottles of beer on the wall, 18 bottles of beer on the wall, 18 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 17 bottles of beer on the wall, 17 bottles of beer on the wall, 17 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 16 bottles of beer on the wall, 16 bottles of beer on the wall, 16 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 15 bottles of beer on the wall, 15 bottles of beer on the wall, 15 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 14 bottles of beer on the wall, 14 bottles of beer on the wall, 14 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 13 bottles of beer on the wall, 13 bottles of beer on the wall, 13 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 12 bottles of beer on the wall, 12 bottles of beer on the wall, 12 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 11 bottles of beer on the wall, 11 bottles of beer on the wall, 11 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 10 bottles of beer on the wall. We have 10 left, and then we're done. Okay, here we go. 10 bottles of beer on the wall, 10. Take one down, pass it around. 9 bottles of beer on the wall, 9 bottles of beer on the wall, 9 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 8 bottles of beer on the wall. 8 bottles of beer on the wall, 8 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 20. I messed it up. 7 bottles of beer on the wall. 7 bottles of beer on the wall. 7 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 70. Really? 70. 6 bottles of beer on the wall. 6 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 5 bottles of beer on the wall. 5 bottles of beer on the wall. 5 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 4 bottles of beer on the wall. 4 bottles of beer on the wall. 4 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 3 bottles of beer on the wall. 3 bottles of beer on the wall. 3 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 2 bottles of beer on the wall. 2 bottles of beer on the wall. 2 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 1 beer on the wall. 1 bottle of beer on the wall. 1 bottle of beer. Take it down, pass it around. No more bottles of beer on the wall. We did great. Yes. Oh my god, I just did all of that in 15 minutes. Thank you guys. That was hard. Oh god. That was a lot of singing. Alright, well, hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace.